Welcome to the Super Coach Show. I'm your host, Coach Michael Burt. Good coach will do that for you. Will make you have conversations you don't want to have. Make you do some things you don't want to do, but the way help you become something you didn't think you could become. Straight out of the locker room, right into your life. I'm a leadership coach, former championship coach, business expert, author of 10 books, Coach Michael Burt. Along with me today, Brock Patterson, the Optimizer.
Coach Burt.
You can follow him at Brock Patterson. Follow me at Michael Burt, Micheal, because everybody needs a coach in life. And welcome to the Super Coach Show. We come to you live every Tuesday at 2 p.m. right here at CoachBurt.com. Starting in January, we will also come to you exclusively on the Whatever It Takes network of Grant Cardone. And every week we come to you to really do three things, Brock. Multiply your money, multiply your life, and multiply your business. To what people say, superhuman levels. And we will find the kryptonite in your life. And everybody's got some kryptonite, right?
That's right.
And today's topic is a great one. I came across this in a reading of a new book that I've been reading, The Smartest Kids in the World and How They Got That Way. It's called The $4 Million Teacher.
Nice title.
The $4 Million Teacher. And how do you drive up your value in any scenario so that you can be compensated more for what you do? You know, when I was a high school teacher many years ago, Brock, here's what happened. One of the biggest statements I heard from other high school teachers was this: we don't make enough money. And I heard it over and over and over out there in the world till finally one day I started thinking about this, because here's the problem. Very few teachers ever considered using their talents and their skill sets they had accumulated over their lifetime to be compensated more.
That's right.
Because if you're a good teacher, you're a therapist, you're a motivator, you're a problem solver,
Psychologist.
you're a psychologist,
Right.
you're a great coach,
Yeah.
you're a great teacher. These are all words, are skill sets that the world will pay for. That the world will pay for. And so here's what I would ask those people. I would say, have you ever heard of a guy named Hal Urban? And they would say, no, I've never heard of Hal Urban. And I'd say, well, Hal Urban wrote a book called Life's 20 Greatest Lessons.
Nice.
And he wrote it for his kids. He self-published that book. He sold 250,000 copies out of his garage, self-published, so he probably made a profit margin of $10 per book. And here's what he said. He sold that for 250,000 copies, $10 a book. Profit on that, $2.5 million. And they'd say, well, why are you telling me this, Coach? And here's what I would say. Because Hal Urban was a high school teacher.
Lottery.
So if you're a person out there in the world and you think you're worth more money, you want to be compensated more money, today's show is for you. Because whether you know it or not, there's a $4 million teacher in the world, a high school teacher, a tutor that makes $4 million a year. Not in America, in Korea.
Yes.
But there's a reason he makes $4 million a year. And if you're out there listening today and you're trying to figure out how you can make more, this is going to be the perfect show for you.
Up the ante.
Because at the end of the day, it's very hard to look at our own selves and figure out what skill set we're missing.
Yes. Absolutely.
And if you can start thinking in terms of what problem am I solving? What problem am I solving for the world? And who would compensate me the most? I talk about it a lot in this book, Person of Interest, when I talk about birthday gifts. Because you're solving a problem for everybody. So how did this $4 million teacher came along? Well, every year we do a cruise. And on that cruise, here's what I do through the Eastern Caribbean. This year, I was headed to Miami on the cruise. And on the way out, I looked at two books to pick up. One was The Smartest Kids in the World and How They Got That Way. Okay?
Excellent.
In this book by Amanda Ripley, you've read it too. Okay? Here's what she says. She says that there are rock star teachers out there in the world, because here's the deal. I've always been fascinated with how poorly we train young people to thrive in a modern and competitive world.
That's right.
If that's not one of the biggest problems in the world, I don't know what is. Okay, right? So in this book, she takes a hard look through the eyes of the students, not just the parents, but through the eyes of the students on what they look for when becoming the best educated kids in the world. What they found was fascinating. In Korea, there's a teacher named Andrew Kim. He earns $4 million a year and is known as the rock star teacher. He teaches in a private after-school program called a Hagwon. I think I'm saying it right. Am I saying it right?
I think so.
Hagwon.
He makes what? $4 million.
$4 million a
That's
year.
right.
He's considered a rock star
Yeah.
teacher. He works about 60 hours a week, but he only teaches 3 classes in person.
Right.
All of his other classes are online. Each lecture he does online. He does it $3.50 per hour, and roughly 150,000 students watch his lectures online every year. In essence, he is a brand.
And a rock star.
He's a brand. Just like you are a personal brand out there. So here's the pain, here's the problem, here's the solution, just to get us set up for today, to get us started. Number one, here's the pain. You don't make enough money, or you don't make enough money for the value you create.
Right.
That's the
That's
pain.
right.
The problem is you don't create enough value, or the current role you're in doesn't reward or cannot reward the value you create.
That's
and that
big.
is a problem.
That's big, too.
You actually can
Absolutely.
create a lot of value and be in an organization
Sure.
that cannot pay you
Happens all
what
the
you're
time.
worth. This could be where you work or where the customers you serve, i.e., you may be serving customers that don't pay a lot for your services.
Right.
Okay. Now, the solution that we're going to tackle today, Brock, is this. You got to find the right home for your talents that compensates you for the value you create.
Right.
You got to create more value than you currently are by finding and solving a bigger problem, or you got to go to work on your skill set.
That's right.
So what's the biggest thing you want to get out of today's show?
Let's talk. I think for the viewer and the listener, one of the things you have to realize is that you need to create value early on. And I learned my very first professional job. We had acquired a company in California. We were bringing it back. We'd been there about 9 months. My department was, I quickly found out that the most critical component of this acquisition, the department I was bringing back, was done not in California,
Yes.
but in Knoxville, Tennessee. Went to my boss, to the directors, and said, look, we're wasting our time, extra time here. We've got to go to Knoxville and bring this component back. What that did, I showed value early on during an acquisition. I got promoted faster. I was on the inner circle in the company. So I think what I want people to see is that if you can create value fast for your customer, for the company you're with, that you'll get the opportunity to earn more money.
And you have got to see the problem
Yes.
and be the
Yeah.
solution to the problem. When we come back in segment 2, it's not all they pay. It's just what they pay you. From the great philosopher Jim Rohn. You're watching the Super Coach Show right here at CoachBurt.com. Tell you one of the best things we've ever created, and that's our legacy selling system. You see, 95% of the people I coach, business owners, sales professionals, sales managers, do not have a selling system. They don't go on the attack every week. They're retreating and contracting every week because they don't have something to say. They don't have a group of people to go after. See, I teach 14 to 20 different strategies in conjunction in a coordinated, systematic approach to build your business. This selling system is really intended to do one thing: build qualified leads, drive deeper networks, and close more deals. People using our system has grown their business. Some people over 100% in a 1-year cycle. We used it in our own company to build our business over 40% this year. Come January 23rd and 24th, I'm going to be licensing this to sales managers, sales professionals, small business owners. Come to Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Spend 2 days with me, and I'll teach you the ins and out of this system, complete with the quick read books, the videos, the PowerPoints, the handouts. You can go back and teach your troops, and you can build your business in 2015 to mega levels with the legacy selling system. Join me January 23rd and 24th in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Email info@coachburt.com for a free consultation. All right, welcome back to the Super Coach Show. We just came from commercial, Brock, where we're promoting the legacy selling licensing. This is the quick read book that goes with this. Here's the problem, folks. 95% of people that we work with don't have a selling
Not at
system,
all.
which
Right.
baffles me, really.
Yes.
But they don't have a selling system. Because they don't have a selling system, they don't have a coordinated, calculated attack on how they acquire customers. And because of that, they just flounder around. Now, when you combo that with our brand new Monster Producer planners, and if you can see my planner right here, I've got my selling system in it. You can see my day is mapped out today. You can see over here my targets that are mapped out over here, my success and failures of the day, and my goals. I've got my daily goals, my monster quote of the day, my hit list, my farm club, everything I'm working. I'm mapping out every 7 days. It has a vision board, accountability board in it, activity board. And so here's the concept. If you're looking for a selling system, you need to join us January 23rd, 24th in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Spend 2 days with me and the team learning a true selling system perfect for business owners, entrepreneurs, sales professionals, the sales manager that's out there in the world trying to get that legacy selling January 23rd, 24th. Email us at infocoachbert.com so we can do a free consultation and show you that. Now, today we're talking the $4 million teacher. And there's a bigger lesson here.
Yeah.
The $4 million teacher is just the hook.
Yeah, absolutely.
The concept is, what if you could increase the amount of money that you make? So your pain is you don't make enough money. The problem is you don't create enough value, or the company you work for can't compensate you the value you're worth, or you need to go to work on your specific skill set. That's really the problem. So it reminds me of a Jim Rohn quote that I really love, the great philosopher Jim Rohn, and it reminds me of this quote, Brock, about him talking about, he goes to his mentor at 25 years old, and he tells his mentor that he's not making enough money at the company. And his mentor says, do they pay other people more money? And he said, yes.
Right.
Well, he said, well, then it's not what they pay, it's just what they pay you. And when you create more value, you will make more money. So remember this, your compensation is tied to your value creation. Right?
Right, 100%.
Your compensation is tied to your value creation. Number 2, you must find out what your company or your customers value the most and help create it.
Yes.
Now, let me give a real life example. Today, you and I had lunch before this over
Yeah.
to Jason's Deli. And we're talking about targets and legacy selling and vision and that kind of thing for this year. And on the way over there, I was on the phone with one of our customers.
Mm-hmm.
And what I heard him say is that he needed help packaging
Right.
his intellectual property and content so that he could build a platform.
Right.
And in his words, like you have, Coach. Well, his problem is he wants to build a platform and he don't know how.
Correct.
Money only changes hands when problems are solved. So when I hear that, I say, well, how can we help him package up his platform
Right.
and his money to be made there, right? Some people don't get compensated by selling. Some people get compensated by freeing other people up who do sell.
Yeah.
Expound on that one just a little bit.
Well, you know, there's always, I spent a good majority of my career in the service industry. And so the job there and what the employees there were doing was, it was almost like protecting the house, protecting home base.
Mm-hmm.
And so by doing
Taking
that,
lettuce.
yeah, you're protecting home base and servicing that client when they've got issues that your salespeople, Salesforce, entrepreneur, rainmakers can go out and generate new sales, and you can go and you can handle the problems. Also, you know, the great thing about that is you can find out what some of the pain points are and then send that back out to the field so that you can address it and sell those new needs.
Well, when you think about this concept, you look at how people get compensated. Money only changes hands when problems are solved.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're thinking about this, I want you specifically thinking today how you can create more value. Okay? So think about this. Your money's tied to your value creation.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Right.
want more money, you got to solve bigger problems. You got to either solve problems for the niches or the masses.
Right.
And so when you think about this, you may be in a position like a number 2, like Lauren Hudgens. Follow her at Lauren K. Hudgens. Her job, the way she's compensated, is by freeing us up
Right.
so that we can generate money.
Sure.
And so she's compensated by freeing people up. Some people get compensated, as you said, protecting the lettuce,
Yeah.
watching the house.
Yeah.
I would think of a comptroller,
Oh yeah.
of a CFO,
Sure.
protecting the house, right?
Absolutely.
Some people get compensated for customer satisfaction.
Yeah, that's right.
If my
Important.
company was big enough, I would hire somebody. It was, remember when Guy Kawasaki was considered the Apple evangelist,
Yeah.
and that's
Right.
what he did, was to go out and push that. He got compensated by being an evangelical for Apple's products, specifically the Macintosh. Okay, some people get compensated for inventing or creating things that generate money.
Right.
Okay, ask yourself this question: why are you being compensated? Why are you being compensated? Because it goes back to Jim Rohn's point that I full
love that.
100%
I love
agree
it.
with.
I love it.
When you complain about how much money you make, and there's a lot of people who complain. For the teachers, well, I started this show by saying there's a $4 million teacher out there. He's got 150,000 students online. He works 60 hours a week, teaches 3 classes live.
It's awesome.
$350 an hour. He's
Right.
affecting the masses because in Korea, parents want their teachers, their students, to learn under
Sure.
specific baller teacher.
Gurus.
And so when you become the guru, you can charge more money. So I want you to ask yourself, how are you being compensated and why are you being compensated? And I want you to really listen to the problems that are created by your clients and ask, can you solve these problems? Now, if you only got one product,
It's hard.
you only got one solution,
Yeah.
then that's it, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But most people don't look inward.
No.
Brock, what they do is they say, well, they should pay me more money. It's almost where the entitlement mindset comes
Right.
in. Don't you
Oh,
agree?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. And it's not this, this there's a you, me, we element
Yes.
that's missing in corporations, companies. It's first, it's about you, because I think you've got to address that need. As a leader of a company, let's impact that employee. Then let's talk about me. This is what I expect. This is what I need. And then thirdly, let's talk about we as an organization. I think that we part is missing, because that's why we're doing it, is for the company, for the customer, and the employees.
Some of the contracts that we sign have been 6-7 year contracts, and people ask me, how do you continually re-up the contract? Well, this is real simple. I figure out ways to help the company make more money.
Yeah, we.
I figure out how they can make more money
yeah.
through our partnership. And if I can keep helping them make more money, then you become a must-have versus a nice-to-have. Nice-to-haves always get cut during budget time. You're watching Super Coach Radio. You're listening to Super Coach Radio. Come on back in the final segment. How do you become the Andrew Kim, the $4 million teacher
Big money.
in your industry?
Say it. Say it. What else? Shake down. Say it. Say it. It's all getting. Red getting. I'm getting.
For people who want to have a monster year. Once a month coaching program for 3 hours with other like-minded monsters in a structured environment with key measurable outcomes and lots of accountability. You see, the monster coaching program is coming, and we've already got 22 monsters signed up. Will you be in the class? You're back, Super Coach Radio. You're finding us every single week, 2 p.m. right here at CoachBurt.com. I hope you're tuning in. I appreciate you listening. 70,000 views on YouTube. People that are watching our shows. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel at Coach Burt, you can get this every single week.
Drops in. Baby.
Drops right into your email. We're going to introduce some new shows in 2015. And I'm real excited about this because I'm a former championship coach. I'm working on a concept that I wrote a blog on, the most popular blog I've ever written, Brock. It called Good Coach, Bad Coach, where every week I do a show that compares and contrasts the habits of great coaches that the bad coaches will never, ever figure out. There's more bad coaches than good coaches.
Yes.
And a good coach, as we know with Jim Harbaugh, who just signed a $48 million deal with Michigan, the highest paid coach in the country. Good coaches get rewarded with wins, players, money, compensation. So be on the lookout for Good Coach, Bad Coach. That'll be coming out every single week right here at CoachBurt.com. I'm also bringing a show that we'll do a couple times a month called The Pressure Cooker. Because a lot of people can't handle the pressure when the pressure's turned up. And I bring a lot of heat.
You do that well, though.
I
Handle
bring
the
a
pressure.
lot of heat to the ballpark, and I think because of my coaching background, so you can find all of these at CoachBurt.com. And if you go under shows, you can watch Super Coach Show, Swag TV, Person of Interest TV. You'll be able to watch Good Coach, Bad Coach, Zebras and Cheetahs, which was our
there.
reality TV show. You'll also be able to see Good Coach, Bad Coach, and The Pressure Cooker
I love it.
as part of our deal. So I'm excited about these shows coming to market at the end of the year. Now, today we're talking to $4 Million Teacher. How do you drive up your value? I don't ever, after you watch this show, ever again for somebody to complain about how much money you make.
Stop doing that.
Because if you want to make more money, create more
Yeah,
value.
Absolutely.
Solve bigger problems. Go after the niches. And I remember a story of a company, I won't tell the company, that when it came time to negotiate, the COO of that company set me down and he said, now I know you're a six-figure guy. You are worth six figures to us. But we can't pay you six figures.
Right.
Not where we are today. They were in a growth mode.
Right.
They were coming off a bad market. They had big ambitions. And so he said, we're going to pay you. But you may outgrow us at some point where you can't accept
Makes
what we're
sense.
going to pay you. But
Yeah.
we will bonus you if you help us hit our goals. Now, I had a deep respect for that.
Right.
Because he started the conversation off by saying, we know you're a six-figure guy.
Right.
We can't pay
Value.
you six figures, right?
Yeah.
But so now he put it in my court and said, if you will
Ooh.
accept what we have to offer you, we want you. We want you to be our coach.
Right.
And we just signed a deal with Coldwell Banker, by the way,
Oh yeah.
to be their coach of Coldwell Banker Barnes. All, 300 and something agents
That's a big yeah.
here in
Absolutely.
Tennessee.
300.
The Coldwell Banker Barnes, we're going to be the coach for them for this entire next year for every one of their agents. They get access to our membership. We're going to go do 4 quarterly sessions with them. We just kicked it off at the big party at the Nashville City Club the other night. So when it comes to this concept, how do you become Andrew Kim in your industry? How do you become the
$4
Jim
million.
Harbaugh?
That's right.
How do you become the Nick Saban? How do you become the highest paid, whatever it is you do
Yeah.
in the world? Well, here's some ways that you need to really be thinking about. I don't think people look at their self internally and ask this question, what missing structures do I have?
Right.
I don't think they know
Right.
how to do that,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So shouldn't they start there by looking at here's what skill sets I have, here's what I'm lacking. For example, in this Monster Producer program that's starting next week, January the 9th, we've got 22 monsters that are going to be in our program. When I get down to monster skill set, which is one of the 7 frameworks
Right.
of a monster, I started thinking about how do I teach somebody the skill sets of a freaking monster,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Which is going to be our next week's show, by the way, Elements of a Monster Producer. How do I teach somebody that? Well, first we got to look at the ingredients of a monster and say, I don't have these ingredients.
Right.
You know what? I think some people don't have the swag. Some people don't have the verbiage. Some people don't have the look. Some people don't have the mojo. Some people don't know how to pivot.
Right. Yeah.
So how do we give that to people, Brock, if we're out there in the world? Because this Andrew Kim, who's making $4 million a year as a teacher in Korea, 150,000 students, online courses, he's become the rock star brand over there. And it ties in. He's become the person of interest.
Sure.
And so if you're a parent in Korea, you want your kids to work specifically under Andrew
Right.
Kim, right?
Right.
So
Okay.
how do people get themselves to a point that they understand that their money is in direct proportion to the value they create, the problems they solve, and the swag that they bring to the party so that people know they
Yeah.
the real deal?
Yeah. I think early on in my career when I was in corporate, I realized that the only way to get more money was to be a problem solver and add value. So I quickly went to work, like that conversation earlier in the show about finding that we did not need to spend any more time in my particular department and got to another area of town. I saved the company money. I looked at ways to make the processes more efficient. I helped save about $500,000 in shipping cost. So I started to save the company money, make the company money, become more efficient. Early on in 2000, 2001, 2002, it was all about computer and automation. So I automated a lot of things that needed to happen. So clearly, my employer saw this guy's here to help us,
The team.
the team,
Yep.
save money and make money.
Yeah, you
and
protect-
by that, I got a 10% raise, higher than most people, my first year that I worked there.
Yeah, because most employees don't think about the house. They think about themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
What
First.
can you do for
Yeah.
me? How many days can I get off? What's the package you're going to give me? Here's what I would do. Before you negotiate, just know this. You got to have something to negotiate.
Yes.
You can't ever go into a negotiation when you ain't got nothing to negotiate, right? So here's what I would do. If I went into a job today, I almost would say, don't pay me for 90 days. Let me show you what kind of value I can create. Then let's sit down and talk about my compensation. That'd take a serious set of balls. You know what I'm saying? But if you believe in yourself that
Right,
much.
right.
So what you were talking about, Brock, is you were an asset. If you understand the difference between assets and liabilities, an asset adds, a liability subtracts. You got to ask yourself, how big of an asset are you? How big of a liability to you? Are you a must-have? Are you a nice-to-have?
Absolutely.
Do they got to have you? Would they like to have you? Because I'm going to tell you something. When I look at my personal budget, there are things I got to have. There are things I'd like to have.
Sure.
And for the things I'd like to have, if times get tough and we contract, or I tell Mama we're going into a cost-saving mode, you want me to tell you what we're
gone.
doing? It's out the door,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah.
We ain't spending money on
Right.
that. If we can shop at Aldi versus Publix, why do we need Publix? If you know, and here's what I tell Natalie: if we need somebody to say hi to us when we walk in the door, hell, I'll go with you to the grocery store and say hi to you, and we'll shop at Aldi. You see the difference?
Oh, yeah.
And so
Oh,
my
yeah.
point is real simple: assets make you money, they save you money, or they bring an intangible asset. For example, Lauren's an asset because she frees us up,
Yeah.
and freeing up gives us an asset. She makes the noise go away. So remember the ways that you can be an asset versus a liability to people out there. Liabilities cost the company time, they cost them money, they cost them energy. I could do a whole show on the drama that some people create that makes them a liability. So here's what I want you to know. In The Millionaire Next Door, Thomas Stanley said this: the wealthy want their kids to create and market products to the affluent. And you know why the wealthy want them to do that? Because they know they can pay for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
They know they can pay
Right.
for them.
That's right.
Because when I think about when you own a yacht. Somebody that owns a yacht has a $10 million yacht. They tell us to transport that yacht across the ocean, $250,000 to transport it.
Good grief.
But the wealthy can pay it.
That's right.
So somebody saw a problem, created a solution, created a great
Right.
solution that they can make $250,000 a year. So this is real simple, guys. If you want to make more money, you got to create more value. You can become the Andrew Kim, the $4 million teacher, if you create enough value out there. And you do that by solving problems for the niches or for the masses.
That's right.
And then you start to bring your swag to the equation. You know what we believe here at Super Coach? We want to multiply your life, multiply your money, multiply your business. We believe everybody needs a good coach in life, because a good coach will do three things for you. They'll make you have conversations you don't want to have. They'll make you do some things you don't want to do. They'll help you become something you didn't think you could become. We want you to go out there and be a champion this week.
Make you $4 million.
Don't complain, bitch, moan, gripe about what you make.
That's right.
Go out there and be the rock star in your industry. Come on back next week, 2 p.m. You can listen to us on iTunes. Go to CoachBurt.com. Be on the lookout for our new shows and our new program, Monster Producer. It's a legendary creature that combines multiple skill sets to dominate a market. I'm Coach Michael Burt. It's the Optimizer Brock Patterson. Come on back next week.